Hey, what's up? In this tutorial, I'll be showing you the steps to achieve this transparent background effect. This is the website that we will be building in this tutorial. We have a large background image that covers the entire width and height of our website. We have a content area with a couple of paragraphs in it, and our content area has this opaque coloring or a transparent background that allows the background image behind it to seep through. So let's take a look at our files. We have a standard HTML file, which I've called index.html, a style sheet called styles.css, and a folder called images, where I'll be storing all our images, in which we have this large background image, which I'll be using to cover the entire website. So let's take a look at the index.html file. We'll open that up in our text editor. And essentially, it's empty at the moment. There's nothing inside the body tag, so there's no content. Although I do have a link to my style sheet, which is called styles.css. And if I can take a look at our files, there it is, styles.css. Let's take a look at that in our text editor. Our style sheet is completely empty. We have no styles in there at all at the moment. Let's switch back to the HTML file and start putting in some content. In between the body tags, the first thing I want to do is create a div, which is a container. And inside the div, I'll just put a couple of paragraphs of text. So I'll save that, and now let's view the website so far. So as you can see, we have two paragraphs that are contained within a div. The div is essentially invisible. There's no styling attached to it at the moment. So let's jump over to our CSS file, and let's assign that large background image to the body tag. So I'll open up some body tags and write the following to assign the background image. So background-image, URL, some parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis is the path to our full screen image. Let's take a look at that so far. So our background image is certainly spanning the entire height and width of our website, but I can see that when I resize the browser, there's an issue with the background image repeating. So let's just jump back over to the CSS, and I'll add a no repeat. So background size is cover, background dash repeat, no repeat. So now when I resize my browser, I'm only getting one instance of that background image, but you can see as a result we've got this white space here. So let's fix that by writing a rule that will affect the height of the entire HTML. So in our CSS, I'll put this above the body tags. I'm going to write HTML, and height is 100%. Let's refresh the website, and that's much better. As I resize the browser window, we're not getting any white spaces, and the browser is revealing as much of the background image it needs to have it entirely covered and without distorting the image. I might also just center the image as well. You'll see that it's kind of anchored towards the left and top edges, which would be fine in some instances, but I think I'll center it completely. So in our body tags, I'll write background dash position, center, center. You see that's moved our background image to the center of the window so that's anchored directly in the middle. The next thing I want to do is style our content area. and let's put it into a box. We already have it inside a div, so let's style that div. I'm going to give our div a width of 400 pixels, and I'll give it a border that's 2 pixels solid and is the color white. I'll also put some padding around our div, 50 pixels of padding, and to center our div I'm going to use margin auto. So let's take a look at that so far. So our div has a white border, it's got some padding, and it's centered. So the next thing to do is to actually create the transparent background, and to do that I'm going to jump over to Photoshop and create a new artboard. The dimensions of the artboard don't really matter at this stage. I'm going to make sure my layers palette is revealed. If you can't see your layers palettes, just go to View, Window, and make sure that Layers is ticked off here. We have one layer at the moment, which is this white background color, and it has a padlock there, so I'm going to right-click that and select Layer from Background. This dialog box appears. I'll just press OK. I'm now going to select the entire artboard using our selection tool, and then fill it with a color by going up to Edit, Fill, Color, and I'll select a color. I think I might use black. Press OK, and then OK again, and that's created this solid black color. Let's make that transparent by double-clicking into our layers palette, the first layer, and you'll see this dialog box for layer styles appears, and the first option is for opacity. Let's turn that to 50%. And you can see what's happening there as I use this lever. The opacity is changing, so I'll keep that at 50%. The next thing we need to do is resize this to the smallest size possible. We're going to make this a repeating image in our div, so there's really no point in having the image so big, because obviously that will slow down the entire website. So let's go up to Images, Canvas Size, and let's make our artboard 1 pixel by 1 pixel. So here's our image. It's 1 pixel. It's now that transparent black. Let's save that by selecting File, Save for Web. And make sure that the PNG option is selected. PNG 24 is what we want, and that the transparency option here is also ticked. Let's save that to our images folder. And I'm going to call this transparent-1.png. Let's take a look at our files. There it is, sure enough, our 1 pixel transparent background. And now let's use this as our background image. So let's open up the CSS file. And in this section where we are applying styles for our div, let's write background-image. And now we'll put the path to that image. We also want to make sure it repeats so that it covers the entire width and height of our div. So I'll write background-repeat, and I'll set this to say repeat. Let's also center it so it repeats from the middle outwards. So background-position, center, center. Let's take a look at that. So there we go. Our div now has this transparent background. If you're not quite happy with the amount of transparency there, we can go to Photoshop, and here's our image. And if we double click that layer, we can mess around with the opacity. I might increase that to 70%, and then I'll resave that PNG. Just overwriting my existing image. So now when I refresh the page, the new PNG comes into effect. The next thing I want to do is obviously change the color of my text so that we can read it. So I'll put color, and I think I'll select white. And finally, I think I might justify the text so that it lines up nicely on the left and right edges. So let's add text, align, justify. And there we have it. I hope this explains how to achieve these transparent backgrounds, and thank you for watching.